How's it going, everybody? AZPlow21 back again with more WMMA 5, coming at you with episode number 7. After taking quite a hiatus, I was gone for nearly 4 months, I believe. I do apologize once again for that. I brought you guys episode 6, I believe, last time out, and now we have episode number 7. Let me get rid of this notepad here, as we are ready for our next fight night on the cards. Pokrajac versus Reyes. Igor Pokrajac, fresh off of signing a new contract, actually, against Dominick, I believe, the Devastator Reyes. So a nice 6-fight card here we have going on for you. And just so I can keep you guys updated, we are, of course, working towards our next fight card, which is Saturday, week 4 in September 2020. So presidential elections coming up rather soon in this game world. As you can see, the pay-per-view fight card that we're working towards, and look at the fight card that we have for you at UFC 252. Take a look at the prelims there if you want to as well. But what a card for you. 5 amazing fights, including 2 championship bouts, one including Conor McGregor in the co-main event. And I'm not exactly sure if I want to put him in the main events. As you can see here, it says superb main event for the heavyweight championship fight, and it only says, well, it says superb main event for that one as well. I think I was just more concerned with Poirier's drawing power. He's mid-level national, whereas Rothwell is mid-level international. So kind of a more intriguing matchup to the casual viewer as far as that goes. Everyone knows who Dustin Poirier is, of course, in the real MMA world, but in game, I make a lot more money promoting this fight as the main event more than the Conor McGregor fight. This one, TJ Dillashaw taking on Thomas Almeida. Now, what I could do is simply move this fight up to 252 and make the Conor fight the main event of 253. That is doable, and I mean, let's see, high-level international, because they're both low-level international, and Poirier is still mid-level national. So I'd really be taking a risk in putting someone like Poirier in this game in the main event of a pay-per-view, rather than having someone like the other 2 guys in the main event of 253, who are both low-level international. As you can see, Poirier is mid-level national. He is on a winning streak. He is ranked number 4 in the division. He is worthy of a title shot. But I just don't know, even with Conor as the main drawing factor, if he's worthy of main eventing a show. As you can see there, even the game is suggesting he should still be on the preliminary card. It's saying that simply because my company is so big, it's assuming that I'm only doing like 1 fight card a month. So someone like Poirier might actually be on the preliminary card if I was doing only 1 fight card a month, but that's just not the case. I don't have time for that. I run at least 5 events every month. I run, let's see, I believe it actually is 5 events a month. So we have 2 fight nights, a Fox, 2 fight nights in 1 week, a Fox, a fight night, and then 253. So yeah, that is 5 cards in 1 month. It used to be absolutely stupid, the amount of fight cards that I used to do. I used to be doing 2 fight nights a week irregardless. So I would do 2 fight nights in week 1 of the month. I would do 1 UFC on Fox card in week 2. I would do 2 UFC fight nights in week 3, and then I would do the pay-per-view card. So that's a total of 6 cards in 1 month. And let me see if I can show you here. Right here, what I have highlighted right here, that's the amount of fights that I put on per show. So for pay-per-view and Fox cards, I have 5 main fights with 9 preliminary fights. And fight nights, I have 6 main card fights with 7 preliminary fights. So if you add that up, that's 10 main card fights, that's 18. 18 plus 10 is 28. So that's 28 fights simply within the pay-per-view and Fox cards per month. Now, the fight nights, I have 3 fight night cards every single month. So that's 18 main card fights and then 21 preliminary fights. So 18 plus 21 with my shitty math is 39. So that means that I put on a total of 67 fights per month here in the UFC. And that is not a small number, I should say. 67 fights per month. That'd be the equivalent of me putting on a tiny card and putting on like 3 fights per card. So a lot of fights being put on. That's essentially 134 people that are being used per month. And because of that, we need a really big roster. And I have a really big roster, which is good. But it could also mean that, we kind of oversaturate the market a little bit. A lot of people aren't going to be used as much. But with that, is not going to be much of a problem, because I do a good job of making sure that the people that fight are worthy of it. They aren't just, old names that have lost like 5 times in a row. I had to release Gabriel Gonzaga, who you saw lose in that last fight card in the last episode. I actually released him because he was on a 5-fight win streak, and while he does have a little bit of name value and he certainly is recognizable to old UFC fans, he's not worth keeping in game because all he is just a body who's going to lose fight after fight after fight, and I'm going to have to keep paying him while he doesn't actually draw. So the main point in this game is to actually make money, although it could be seen as somewhat of a fantasy booker kind of deal. Like, I mean, I'm the booker of this UFC. Like, I'm the booker of this organization. I'm essentially Dana White. My overall objective is to book fights to the point where it draws in money for the pay-per-views. And so, in doing so, TJ Dillashaw and Thomas Almeida are more likely to get me more money in pay-per-view buys than someone like Dustin Poirier, which is why he's in the co-main event with Conor. Now, that pay-per-view in particular will make a lot of money revenue-wise, just because it's two really marquee pay-per-view matchups. So that's really good. Like I said, 252, a great UFC pay-per-view card coming up. But we have our UFC Fight Night card here, and we're actually going to put this on the UFC Fight Pass just so we can get some viewers on it. And the reason I put these small fight cards on Fight Pass is because they're not exactly relevant enough to be put. Oh shit, I didn't actually put it on the Fight Pass. Let's see. I need to add it first. So, yep. Okay, cool. So it's on the Fight Pass. Now, the reason I don't put them on pay-per-view or on TV like I do with UFC on Fox is because the fighters aren't prevalent enough. They don't have enough momentum to justify putting them on actual national TV, which is why I put them on Fight Pass, and my loyal subscribers are able to watch the fights, enjoy the fight cards and whatnot, and they're going to be, exposed to the viewers a little bit more, but they're not put on national TV like the people on the UFC on Fox cards are. The UFC on Fox and the pay-per-view fights are strictly for people who have a lot of momentum, who have a lot of buzz about them, who are on win streaks, or who are fighting for championships. So yeah, the UFC Fight Night card, you can see that's why I put a lot of fights on these cards, so that way people can, see a lot more fighters on these cards, and a little bit of a bonus for subscribing to the Fight Pass, we should say. But nonetheless, it's Fight Night. We're in Italy, Saturday, week 3, September 2020. And I'm glad to be bringing you guys some more of this WMMA action as we go into the card. And we're here in Italy, and it looks like we're going to get underway. Once again, only showing the main card fights and only really going in depth in the main events. So it's Augusto Dogurtis Montano taking on Shamil Abdul-Khaliqov. Pardon my pronunciations there. 17-5-1 taking on 20-3. Montano, I know, has been on quite a little bit of a run here. 5 wins to his name in consecutive fashion, and he's actually the underdog against Abdul-Khaliqov. Fight history coming off a loss to Krzysztof Jotko, who has a fight scheduled on a UFC fight card, so he's coming into his own. Nonetheless, 35 years old, taking on a 31-year-old Russian. It's saying that Shamil is going to take out the win, and in fact he does in round number 3 with a leg lock. So good start for the Russian 31-year-olds. You can see if he can get his shit back in order after taking a loss to Jotko. And he wants Chris Kamazi in a fight, who's actually open for booking. So that might be rather intriguing, as we have our next fight in the middleweight division. Kisriev, who's on a 3-0 run here in the UFC with a win over David Branch as well, as he takes on Salim Grizzly Tuari. The Polish man with a 2-fight win streak, including a win over Robert Whittaker. Now, Robert Whittaker in this game is ass. There's no other way about it. He has just not won at all in this game. So Robert Whittaker immediately lost his middleweight championship and then just went on a losing streak. He just has not had a good go of it. He recently had that fight with Yoel Romero that I didn't watch in person, but I watched it live on pay-per-view. Holy fucking shit. Amazing fight. Just nonstop. I did not agree with the decision. I was completely in it for Yoel Romero, and I thought he pulled out the win. Nonetheless, Whittaker ended up keeping it. And it looks like Romero is actually going to fight against Alexander Gustafsson for an interim light heavyweight championship fight. Daniel Cormier, of course, winning the heavyweight championship. Sorry. Winning it, of course, from Stipe Miocic. But, I mean, I'm always down for Yoel Romero fighting for a title. So that's going to be cool. But nonetheless, we have Salim taking on Muslim Kisriev. 13-1 to 12-4. I think Kusriev is going to take it here again. He's heavily favored, and he does in the first round. 37 seconds into the round. Good on Kisriev. Hopefully we can see some more out of him. And he's happy that he landed that punch perfectly. James Bochnovic, 10-3, taking on Jonathan Johnny Bravo Wilson, 10-5. Even fight here. Let's see what they've both been up to. Bochnovic on a 2-fight win streak, while Wilson is on a win after losing to Andrei Koshkin. Toss-up, really, 31-year-old over a 34-year-old. I'm going to take Wilson, and Bochnovic actually gets it done in the first round, TKO, in 3.5 minutes. And he wants Francimar Barroso, old fucker, and he thinks it would be a great fight. As we move on, Corey Hendricks taking on Kurban Omarov, 10-1, taking on 12-2. Hendricks is favored a little bit more, and he has the height advantage. I think he'll take it here, and Hendricks, in fact, punches him in the face. 3:47 into round 1, and wins with a knockout. Corey Hendricks moving to 11-2-1, and he wants Jake Collier. Light heavyweight division heating up a little bit, as is Dominick Reyes taking on Luis Henrique. I think Reyes is going to take it here. No photo in this save. That's kind of unfortunate. He has a couple of wins over Godbeer and Goltsov. Lost to Milstead his last time out. I think he'll take it here, though, Reyes, and he does. Split decision, so not exactly the best showing from Reyes, but nonetheless the 6'3" man from Ukraine able to get it done in the heavyweight division. And he's not happy that it wasn't a unanimous decision victory in his favor. And I guess we'll see what he does about that in the coming weeks. So another Shamil Abdurakhimov taking on Marcos Marcos Rogerio de Lima, 16-7-1, taking on 18-8. A little bit of a height advantage. Big ol' weight advantage, 255 to 210. This guy is probably better off fighting in the light heavyweight division, although he does have a little bit of a chubby stomach. Curtis Blades, his last loss, he might have to move down to light heavyweight if he loses this one, as he in fact does in the first round. Unbelievable. Just that weight advantage is a lot. 45 pounds on him, and 3 years older than him as well. We might have to move him down to the light heavyweight division. Only thing I can think of as why he's in the heavyweight division is he probably missed weight a couple times, and I got pissed off and moved him up to the heavyweight division. But if he's just going to keep losing fights like this, I mean, how bad is he really doing right now? Like, he won over Sergey Pavlovich. Was that a heavyweight fight? It was a heavyweight fight. So he's proved that he can win at the heavyweight division. But as you can see there, fighting against OSP, I mean, he used to be a light heavyweight. So, I mean, I don't know. Rogerio de Lima is going to have to figure this out. But losing in the first round's not always a good look. And Abdurakhimov, of course, thanking his sponsors and whatnot, as it's the last prelim fight. And like I told you in the last episode, Valentina Shevchenko has had a rough go of it in this save. Look at all those consecutive losses. Unbelievable. I mean, we can understand the loss to Nunes, but then she loses to Raquel Pennington, then loses to a regen in Norma Dumont, loses to Sarah Morris, Yanan Wu, and then loses to Pani Kianzad. And I'm taking this I'm taking her because Shevchenko just has been proving that she can't win. Okay, let's take a look at McFarlane. I signed her up from Bellator, where she actually took 3 losses and a win, but I think I just signed her up just because she's a featherweight, because this is a featherweight division. Yeah, it is the featherweight division, so I'm going to take her just because Shevchenko's proven that she can't win. And, in fact, she gets one. Wow. Okay, so TKO victory for Shevchenko, who, of course, in real life was supposed to fight Nico Montano, for the UFC flyweight title, but was unable to do so because Nico said she was sick, had to go to the hospital, some kidney problems while she was cutting weight. They ended up just stripping her of the belt. Very unfortunate, but, I mean, when you have the belt for a year and don't fight anybody, and then your fight is literally like 12 hours away and you have to pull out, you're going to seem like a shady character. So, I mean, we've seen shit like this from Dana White before, where he doesn't want to promote fighters, or he doesn't want to, shed fighters in the best possible light or give them fights that they want. But you can't be a champion from silly tournament like the Ultimate Fighter and think that you know you have the same amount of like pulling power as like Daniel Cormier or something like that, where you can like handpick your opponents because you've proven that you deserve it. Like you won one tournament and essentially you won one official fight in the UFC. You can't really do that. Shevchenko, of course, in real life doing really good, and in game has a win now under her belt. And she did it in 34 seconds into round 2. So hopefully a sign of more things to come from Shevchenko. As we move on to the main card, she wants Sarah Morris again. She already lost to her in the save, but she wants to fight her again as we move on to the main card. And it's flyweight time. We're going to let the small boys go at it, as it's Zach Funsize Makovsky taking on Jared Monkey God Brooks in a battle of who has the cutest nickname, I guess. Heavily favoring Brooks are the bookies in this one. Makovsky, of course, a veteran of the UFC, coming off a lot of consecutive losses, and this might be the end of Makovsky's run here in this game for me if he's not able to get it done, and it's looking like he might not be able to. Taking a look at Brooks, look at how ripped he is for a flyweight. 2 consecutive wins over Sandoval and Higo. So let's go ahead and see who takes it here in this first main card fight, and it is, in fact, Jared Monkey God Brooks. So everyone, F's in the chat and say goodbye to Zach Makovsky. Will probably be released after this one, as long as money permits. Doesn't even have a fight team. Yeah, 38 years old. His career is basically winding down. He can go to the independent fight promotions and get some money there, but you are no longer going to be welcome in the UFC. You are now on how many consecutive losses? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 consecutive losses for Makovsky. Yeah, it's a done deal. So Makovsky no longer in the UFC following that loss, and Jared Brooks happy to have won. So next in the lightweight division, it's going to be Bohan Velekovic taking on Chad Laprise. Laprise has had a couple of marquee fights. Robbie Lawler, Mike Perry, lost both of them. Has a win over Phil Brooks, CM Punk, of course, Luke Jumo, Jingyang Lee. So Laprise has had a couple of important fights, but has lost the important fights. And Bojan Velekovic coming off 2 consecutive wins over Brandon Thatch and Lance Benoist. So we'll see which one of these lightweights get it done here at UFC Fight Night. Pokrajac versus Reyes, as Chad Laprise takes it. So kind of a gatekeeper status here for Chad Laprise, winning, against more mediocre opponents, but losing anytime he's actually really tested. So it's got to be tough being in that kind of situation as an MMA fighter. You almost wonder like if it's even worth it, because I mean, everyone's true goal when you get to the UFC is to become a champion. You kind of don't want to be stuck in this, kind of Mark Hunt type of deal where you win fights against, lesser opponents than you, and you're not able to get it done against the opponents that really matter, and then you kind of you're getting fights and you're getting paychecks, but like they really don't mean anything. You don't really want to be in that type of situation, and that's exactly where Chad Laprise kind of is right now, getting wins over guys he's supposed to and losing against guys that he's supposed to. He's just average at this point, but he's UFC caliber, so what are you really supposed to do at that point? He's going to get fights. So anyways, Michael the Lone Wolf Trezano taking on Rolando Dye in the featherweight division. Somewhat of an even contest, 10-2 for Trezano, 13-6, 1-1 for Dye. And let's take a look at the Filipino Dye. 5 consecutive wins, including over the Korean Zombie. And Trezano coming off a win over Carlos Alexander da Costa, lost to Jeremy Kennedy and Kenny Jordan. So we'll see who takes this one. I'm going to take Trezano a little bit just because he has 1 year on him, a little bit of a height advantage. And actually, Rolando Dye getting it done for all of his Asians back home. The Filipinos are going insane. He doesn't even have a fight team, and he's able to pull it out via unanimous decision. So Dye able to get it done. And now it's a big flyweight contest, as it's Husier da Silva taking on Brandon the Assassin Baby Moreno. And the man from Mexico is on 1 win. Lost to Ray Borg, beat Tim Elliott. Meanwhile, da Silva, I believe, has fought for the championship recently. Fought Mighty Mouse Johnson for the championship back in April of 2019. Lost, beat Ben Nguyen, and then lost to Ray Borg. I'm going to take da Silva on this one, despite being 9 years older than Moreno, as, in fact, da Silva gets it done via unanimous decision. and he wants to fight Mighty Mouse Johnson again. Now, Mighty Mouse Johnson, I think, after holding a championship for so long, deserves an automatic rematch. The flyweight division isn't a division that is stacked with amazing contenders anyway, so I think the best course of action when someone like Mighty Mouse Johnson loses their title is to give him an automatic rematch. I feel he deserves it. He's not going to get it in real life because the UFC and Dana White hate him, which kind of pisses me off because I'm a big Mighty Mouse fan. But in game, not just because I'm a fan of his, but because he deserves it after being a champion for so long, he deserves an automatic rematch. So that's what's going to happen with the flyweights division, as we have Dong Stun Gun Hyun Kim taking on Nordine Taleb. They favor Hyun Kim a little bit, and the 40-year-old Taleb on a 3-fight win streak, looking good on him, but you have to wonder how much longer he can go for, as Hyun Kim, also getting up there in age, has been going back and forth between the losses and wins over Wonderboy, Jorge Masvidal, Tarek Safadine, losing to Matt Brown, Gunnar Nelson, Colby Covington. Interesting matchup, this one. Two rather older guys going at it. I'm going to take Stun Gun on this one, and Nordine Taleb actually pulls it off. The 40-year-old from Quebec getting it done 56 seconds into round 2 with a TKO. And Nordine Taleb wants to fight Peter Sabata, wants the German next. So that's going to be interesting to see as we move on to our main event. Igor, the Duke Pokrajac, taking on Dominick the Devastator Reyes. The 41-year-old Pokrajac at 6', 205, of course, 30-15-1, is a big underdog to Reyes. Might have to do a little bit something with that 4-inch reach advantage. 9-0-2. Has this guy had any suspensions? That's what I am curious about. He has. Look at all those suspensions. PEDs in July of 2018, recreational drugs in July 2018, as well as recreational drugs in 2019. So a little bit of a bad boy is Dominick the Devastator Reyes, and has won all of his fights, but no contests, considering he was obviously doing those drugs at the time. So, I mean, he's in the main event of this, and if he can get a win over a seasoned veteran like Pokrajac, who's fought some really big guys like James Tuhuna, Cavalcante, Gokhan Saki, Jimmo. I mean, he's a UFC veteran, and I mean, I'd imagine that Dominick Reyes is going to get it done. But the real question is, how hot is this piss when it comes out? As we're going to start the timer here and see what happens here in this main event. Thanks again for watching. I will be sure to get more of these episodes out in timely fashion. I do enjoy doing them. Nonetheless, here we have it for you, as both are coming together to strike. Pokrajac, of course, 41 years old, 11 years on Reyes in experience, but of course in age. So I'd imagine that Reyes takes it, but like I said, imagine he's not going to be passing every single one of those drug tests come the end of the week or month, as Pokrajac is already limping in round number 1. 41 years old, you have to remember that. Just imagine being that old and all that wear and tear on your body already. And as a vicious head kick from Reyes, and there it is, that quickly. 3:19 into round number 1, and the winner of the main event is Dominick the Devastator Reyes. And so let's go ahead and take a look. He's very happy with the finish, gave a charismatic performance, and that is it. So commercial rating 75, critical rating 73, not bad. 1,300 came to watch us in Italy, made 300K in gates, and Dominick Reyes beat Igor Pokrajac. So popularity decreases a little bit, but that's okay. We always gain it back tenfold during the pay-per-views. So let's see here. Fight of the night goes to Rolando Dai and Michael Trizano. They were able to have a very good fight. KO of the night goes to the main event winner, and submission of the night goes to, I believe, was the only submission of the day. Yeah, so Shamil Abdulkalov beating Montana with that leg lock in the very first fight of the prelims. He wins sub of the night. So a good job by everybody here, as we lose a total of $179,000. But like I said, do not worry. We make all of that money back and then some for the pay-per-views. We average about $30 million getting during a pay-per-view, and you're going to see that in the next episode. I'm not exactly sure if it's the first pay-per-view I'm showing you guys. I'd imagine it's not, But let me know if you want me to do what I did with the main event for this episode and previous episodes. If you want me to do that for all of the pay-per-view main card fights, I will do so, because of course they are pay-per-views. They are like all going to be like high-profile matches, high-profile fights. So I will do that for the pay-per-view cards if you guys would like me to. But other than that, let's just take a look at some of the news, see who needs to be re-signed. And other than that, we're going to be done right here, as we see Ticia Torres, who actually fought very early on in the save for the strawweight championship. She ended up losing, however. As we're about 3 years into the save, it's going to take a long time to do some of this processing, which is why I do not like doing everything in front of you guys. I like to do some of it outside. Someone had mentioned during one of my episodes earlier on that I have a rather fast processor for this game, and yeah, I have a very fast processor. I have a Lenovo Yoga. That is the laptop that I am currently using. Intel i7 8th Gen processor. Significant upgrade over my last laptop, which was a piece of shit. So games like this, games like Football Manager, games like TEW, which I also like to play. Let me know if you want to see me play that, because I love playing TEW. So yeah, games like that, this is great for processing. I still can't play any like hardcore, games with this laptop. It's not exactly a gaming setup, but it has a really good processor and it works just fine for games like this. So here we are. It's Sunday, Week 3, September 2020. Someone just won a title in KSW. We don't exactly care about that. And Bellator is going after Kelvin Gastelum. Now, Gastelum in this game has had some problems too. Early on in the save, got popped for recreational drugs. I can't imagine seeing Kelvin Gastelum smoking weed, but nonetheless, we're the only offer he's considering. We have nothing to worry about. Kelvin's staying here. If you're interested in seeing his fight history, won a couple, including Luke Rockhold and Jacare Souza, before losing in a title fight to him over Costa. All right, so let's see here. Nothing exactly is catching my eyes. William Macario. Look at this. Look at this name. Remote Mountain beats a Remote Mountain. Some of the names in this game, and this is from the Modern Warriors mod, and it could have something to do with that. It might have just been a little glitch, but I don't think I've ever met anyone whose last name is fucking Remote Mountain. Remote Mountain. Remote Mountain. So with that, that's going to close out this episode. This has been AZ Palau 21. Thanks for watching. I'll be coming right back at you with episode number 8 for UFC 252, Velasquez versus Rothwell. There you can take a look at the card. I've gone through it a couple of times already, and we're going to have our first pay-per-view of the series for you next episode out. So this has been AZ Palau 21. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.